What's up, everyone? You're here with Goran, and thank you for joining me here for your free picks for Sunday, November 12th. Well, guys, we had a busy day on Saturday. We had a bunch of free picks. We had that parlay of the day, which unfortunately was a loss because of Augsburg and Hoffenheim. Uh, First half in that game ended in a 1-1 draw, and then they haven't done a single thing in the second half. So we lost on the over 2.5 on that one. But we've hit some nice picks on Saturday, and we will try to do the same on Sunday as well. There's a bunch of free picks in this video. Of course, there is a parlay of the day once again at the end. And because we have only one game in the MLS playoffs, I included it in this video as well. For more free picks, of course, go up to the YouTube channel, check it out, guys. Subscribe, hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment, of course, and I'll be more than happy to engage with you in the conversation or something like that. So feel free to do that, guys. And for my best bets, hit the link in the description. That will get you up to my page where you can sign up, get a daily pass, 3-day pass, 7-day pass, or even a month-long pass if that's something you want to do. As we usually do, guys, we are going to kick it off with the EPL, and the first game of the day is between Aston Villa and Fulham. Uh, Fulham is a decent team. They're not scoring a lot of goals. They are in the bottom half of the table. They're in 16th place, not far above the relegation zone. But this team has been scoring goals quite consistently. I think they have a decent chance of getting the win here, especially, or at least a positive result, especially because Aston Villa was playing in the Conference League earlier this week, and it wasn't an easy game. They barely got a 2-1 win against Alkmaar, so they will definitely go for it here as well. They have been in solid form. They have lost only one of their last six games. Uh, but in this game, guys, I'm going to go with both teams to score at minus 130. Like I said, I think that Fulham has what it takes to get on the scoreboard here. Their form has been a little bit sloppy, but they are creating chances and they could definitely score a goal against Aston Villa here, the team that has been conceding goals in the last 4 or 5 games. So, Aston Villa against Fulham, both teams to score. For our next matchup, guys, we have Brighton playing against Sheffield United. And as we can see, Brighton is a huge, huge favorite. And they're coming off of a nice win in the Europa League against Ajax once again, 2-0 this time on the road. While Sheffield United still winless on the road, they have 5 losses out of 5 games. However, they did won their last game against Wolverhampton 2-1. That is going to be a huge confidence boost for this team. However, I don't think they will have a lot of chances in this game because of the way Brighton is playing, especially when playing at home. But then again, I also don't expect to go over 2.5 goals. So we are getting a pretty good price on the under 3.5, which is minus 134. I almost never take the unders, guys, but this under 3.5 looks really, really good to me, and I will take it in this game. Liverpool is hosting Brentford, and you know what? Liverpool now is without a win in their last 2 games. They got a draw against Luton Town 1-1 last weekend, and then they ended up losing 3-2 to Toulouse on the road in the Europa League. However, in this matchup, when playing at home, Liverpool has 2 wins out of 2 games, and so far at home this season, they have been perfect. 5 wins out of 5 games, only 2 conceded goals and 14 scored goals in those 5 games. So. Uh, Anfield is the fortress for Liverpool, and it's not an easy thing to come in and win, even for the bigger teams and for the teams in better form than Brentford. So, to keep it simple, guys, I'm taking Liverpool to win it over 2.5 goals, minus 137. West Ham and Nottingham Forest is the next matchup in the EPL, and I'm keeping this one very, very simple as well. We know that Nottingham Forest on the road and Nottingham Forest at home are two very much different teams. And West Ham has now lost their last 3 or 4 EPL games in a row. And coming off of a win against Olympiacos in the Europa League is going to be a huge, huge boost for this team. And I see them finally breaking that negative streak. So, keeping it simple, West Ham on the minor line, minus 118. That's going to be my pick for this one. And we are off to the first derby of the day in soccer in Europe. That is Chelsea between Manchester City. As we can see, Manchester City minus 152 favorites, even though, in my opinion, they should be the bigger favorites. Despite Chelsea winning their last 2 games, it took them to win that game against Tottenham. The fact that Tottenham conceded 2 red cards, and only then Chelsea was able to dominate and create chances to score a few goals. But this is going to be a very much different game for them. Manchester City on a 5 game winning streak, the team that has scored at least 3 goals in each of their last 4 games. And I honestly wouldn't expect much from Chelsea here. Sure, they will create a few chances, be a threat, for a few minutes every now and then in a game. But I think this is gonna be City all over them, and City to win and over 2.5 at plus 155. How can we not take this? Just the over 2.5 is minus 127 right now. Even if you take just that, how do you not take it at that price? I'm not sure what the books are trying to do. Are they trying to maybe steer us away from the over, steer us away from Manchester City? But I'm gonna go with City to win it over 2.5 goals, plus 155. They are the healthier team. They're the better team. They're the more consistent team, and they're coming off of another win in the Champions League. So I'm taking City to win and over 2.5 goals at plus 155. In Spanish La Liga, guys, we have a few interesting games, and the first one is between Barcelona and Deportivo Alaves. Barcelona, I would say they embarrassed themselves against Shakhtar in the Champions League. They ended up losing that game 1-0, but the worst thing is they had only one shot on target. Now, Barcelona hasn't been all there offensively this season. I get it. They had injuries, they're missing players every now and then. But even with their second lineup, they should be able to score at least a couple of goals against Shakhtar and teams like Deportivo Alaves and so on and so on. So, because of the fact they had a horrible game this midweek, I see Frankie de Jong is listed as questionable right now. Lewandowski is back. Pedri is back. They are healthy. They don't have any suspensions. I expect them to step up in this game. So I'm going to take Barcelona minus 1.5 at minus 141. I think even if we take Barcelona minus 2, it should be a decent pick for us for a little bit of a better money, but we are always risking that push. So instead of that, I'm going to take Barcelona minus 1.5. The second derby of the day in Europe is between Sevilla and Betis. This is that Sevilla derby, uh, a game where we usually see a lot of roughness, where we usually do not see a lot of football from either side, and a lot of times they will solely focus on hurting one another, and sometimes it can be very entertaining, to be honest. Now, Betis hasn't won any of their last 11 games. Sevilla is coming off of another loss. They lost to Arsenal in the Champions League. They are in the bottom half of the table. But with this being such a big matchup, it's a city derby between two teams from the same city. Uh, they could step up, to be honest. And I think that Betis might be the team who's going to be a bit of an underdog maybe in this game, as the books even see them. And instead of the sides or the goals, once again, I'll go with cards. This is a big matchup. I'm going to take Betis over 3.5 cards, plus 125. Yellow cards count, red cards count, whatever happens. Let's hope that they will be the rougher team and that they get at least 4 cards in this game. And the last game of the day in La Liga is between Atletico Madrid and Villarreal. As we can see, Villarreal is a huge underdog, plus 700. And how could they not be? They have been all over the place this season. They have lost, sure, they have lost only one of their last 5 games, and they're coming off of a win in the Europa League against Maccabi Haifa. But Atletico Madrid has beaten Celtic 6-0. At home so far this season, they have been perfect. 5 wins out of 5 games, 13 score goals, 6 conceded goals. While Villarreal on the road hasn't been the best, and they really cannot defend this season. So uh, I I do believe that Villarreal will get to the scoreboard because their current form will definitely be a nice boost for them. But I don't see them winning this game. So I'm gonna go for a full money on Atletico Madrid here, and that is both teams to score and Atletico Madrid to win at plus 155. We are off to the German Bundesliga, guys, and the first game is between Leverkusen and Union Berlin. And honestly, last season, this would have been called a derby probably, but since Union Berlin has lost 12 games in a row until their match in the Champions League against Napoli, which ended in a 1-1 draw, uh, I don't think we can call it a derby, to be honest. Atletico Madrid, on the other side, is on a huge winning streak. They have won their last 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 games in a row. They have beaten Karabakh in the Europa League earlier this week 1-0, and they are scoring a ton of goals this season. Leverkusen has already scored 30 goals in 10 games. That's an average of 3 scored goals per game. Now, by all accounts, this is not going to be an easy game for Leverkusen. I think that with that draw against Napoli, Union Berlin might start turning their luck around. And for that reason, I'm going to take Union Berlin to score in this game at minus 118. I think it's a great price, definitely worth a shot. I do expect a few goals in this one, and let's hope one of those will be from Union Berlin. Werder Bremen and Eintracht Frankfurt is the next matchup in Bundesliga, and I'm keeping this one very, very simple, guys. Werder Bremen has been in decent form. Yes, they haven't lost any of their last two games, but for as long as Eintracht is winning games, and they have now won three in a row, they have won five of their last six. We have to take Eintracht Frankfurt. So I'm gonna take Eintracht on the money line plus 128. Keeping it simple, guys. It's not gonna be an easy game. It's gonna be a competitive match, but I see Eintracht coming out on top. And the last game of the day in Bundesliga is between Leipzig and Freiburg. Now, this should be a highly entertaining match because we have two teams that are capable of scoring goals, a lot of them, to be honest. Both teams play the midweek matches. Leipzig has beaten Crvena Zvezda 2-1 in the Champions League. Freiburg has beaten TSC, another Serbian team that is, in the Europa League 5-0 at home. So I think the goals is the way to go in this one, and both teams to score in over 2.5 at minus 107. I will take this any day of the week, guys. So uh, Leipzig against Freiburg, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at minus 107. In the Italian Serie A, guys, we have a few very, very good matchups on Sunday, and we're going to kick it off with Napoli versus Empoli. Napoli, a huge favorite, which means we have to dig for some value somewhere. And instead of choosing the goals, which Napoli hasn't been scoring as many this season as they have last season, I will rather take a player prop. I will take Kvaratskhelia to get over 1.5 shots on target for Napoli at plus 100. We know he takes a lot of shots. He takes penalty kicks. He finds himself often in the great chances to score. And against Empoli, who has a very, very bad defense this season, I think he might be the one that scores a goal here, maybe even two. So uh, Kvaratskhelia over 1.5 shots on target at plus 100. Fiorentina is looking to snap their negative streak in Serie A against Bologna, and it's not going to be an easy task. Bologna actually has five draws in their last five games on the road so far this season, and they haven't lost any of their last 11 games. While Fiorentina, on the other side, they might be winning games in Europe, but they're losing games in Serie A. They have lost their last uh, three games in Serie A, and I think they will go for it here. There's an international break coming, and it's always nice to go into that with a nice positive result just before. And I think that Fiorentina will try to get a win out of this game, but I don't think they can do it by keeping a clean sheet here. So both teams to score minus 132. That's gonna be my pick for this game. Udinese and Atalanta is another interesting matchup that we have. Udinese, they are just above the relegation zone right now. They haven't won a single game at home so far this season, while Atalanta actually has been in quite a good form. They have beaten Sturm Graz 1-0 in the Europa League. They have beaten Empoli on the road. They have beaten Genoa at home. Sure, they lost to Inter last week 2-1, but they were very, very close in that one. And once again, this is the type of a game where the books are giving us the over 2.5 at a great price. And considering the amount of injuries both teams have and suspensions as well, uh, I will take this over 2.5, guys. I will take over 2.5 at minus 103. I honestly think it could go either way. It could end up in a draw, but however I think about this game, however I slice it, I simply see goals in this one for some reason. And minus 103 just made it a lot easier to pick. So Udinese versus Atalanta over 2.5 goals. Lazio and Roma, big derby in Serie A, guys. Derby della Capitale, two teams from the same city, two teams playing in the same stadium, and these games are always eventful. We haven't seen both teams scoring in this matchup in the last three games. We have seen it happen only once in the last six games, but we have seen it happen quite often before that. So, with the lack of defense on both sides, I do like both teams to score in this one. However, I decided to go with a game prop here. Same as that Sevilla derby, these games usually always get rough. We always see a lot of tension on the stands, on the pitch, before the game, after the game, and whatnot. And whether they like it or not, that gets into players' heads. So, what they're doing on the pitch is really sometimes beyond their control, and they tend to make stupid mistakes. They tend to make stupid fouls. So in this game, I'm taking a red card to be awarded in a game to either team. and that is plus 220. Usually we see this around plus 300, which means that the books are kind of leaning more towards it than not. And alongside that, both teams to score that I do like, I will put half a unit on this red card to be awarded in the game. So Lazio versus Roma, a red card to be awarded in the game at plus 220. The last game of the day is Serie A is between Inter Milan and Frosinone. Once again, Inter Milan is a huge, huge favorite here. They have won another game in the Champions League against Salzburg 1-0. And even though Frosinone has been quite solid so far this season, they have two wins out of their last two games. They are almost in the top half of the table. Defensively, they're not all there, and they are conceding a lot of goals, 18 goals in those 11 games, especially when playing on the road. They are not even scoring as much as they are at home, and that is a big problem for them. So we have to dig for some value once again, guys. I will go with another player prop here, and that is Lautaro Martinez to have over 1.5 shots on target, minus 113. He was not in the starting lineup against Salzburg earlier this week, which basically means he will be in the starting lineup here. And I think he's in the mood to play, and I think he can get at least two shots on target at minus 113. In the French League One, guys, we have one game on the schedule. Well, actually, we have more games, but I will talk only about this one. That is the final game of the day between Lens and Marseille. Now, do you remember that Marseille team from last season, the team that tried to play attractive soccer, the team that was scoring a lot of goals, creating a lot of chances? Yeah, that team is now gone. They don't really care about it, especially with Gennaro Gattuso at the helm, the coach that focuses mostly on that fighting style soccer, mostly on defense. And if they win five games by 1-0, they don't care really. They gotta win. Against Ike Athens in the Europa League, they did get a win 2-0 on the road, which is going to be a huge confidence boost for them against Lens. However, Lens has been very, very solid this season, and Marseille still hasn't won a single game on the road so far. So I think this is going to be an incredibly tense matchup, and it's going to be a real tight battle between these two teams. So I decided to go with the draw in this one, and that is at plus 240. I honestly could see a nil-nil draw. I could see a 1-1 draw as well. But however I slice it once again, guys, I just see this ending in a draw. So Lens against Marseille, I'm gonna go with the draw at plus 240. And we are off to that MLS matchup that we have, the third game between Columbus and Atlanta. Now, it's a 1-1 right now, so whoever gets the win out of this game will be going to the next stage. And Atlanta has beaten Columbus 4-2 in the previous game, while Columbus beat Atlanta 2-0 at home in the first game of this matchup. Now, there's a lot of offense to go around between these two teams, but not a lot of defense, to be honest. So keeping it simple, guys, there's a lot at stake here. I'm going to go with over 3.5 goals, minus 113. I think as soon as we see one team getting on the scoreboard, it's going to open up and it's going to be a fun game to watch. And I think it's going to be all out soccer here. So Columbus versus Atlanta, over 3.5 goals at minus 113. And we are up to the parlay of the day, guys. It's a four-legger this time, pays on a plus 376. Liverpool Brentford over 2.5 goals. Leverkusen Union Berlin over 2.5 goals. Barcelona to win and over 1.5 goals. And Leipzig versus Freiburg over 2.5 goals. Like I said, the parlay on Saturday was very, very close to hitting. We were lacking one goal. Hopefully, we get it back with this parlay. It's a nice four-legger. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's just right, guys. And I'll be going in on a whole unit on this one. So Liverpool, Brentford over 2.5, Leverkusen Union over 2.5, Barcelona to win it over 1.5, and Leipzig versus Freiburg over 2.5 goals. That's it, everyone. Thank you for joining me here. These were free picks for Sunday. Hope you have a great day, guys. Good luck with all of your bets, and we'll see you soon with more games from the national teams for next week. And let's conclude those Euro Cup qualifications.